Hi, this is Jeff Keamy, and today we're going to talk about the Bandwidth Estimator tool that is part of your toolkit in your resource portal that is specific to your franchise. I think that's one of the great things about being a franchisee with Wi-Fi is that you really just have a myriad of tools at your disposal to to pull out anytime you might have a question. And one of those tools is the Bandwidth Estimator, and it really does help you figure out how much bandwidth you might need for a particular property. And it's a very simple calculator. It is meant to be an estimate. It is by no means going to be the definitive answer. In fact, it's going to give you non-round answers. So for your ISP may provide 10, 25, 50, and 100 megabit lines. The estimator may tell you need a 62 megabit line. So you need to decide if the 50 or the 100 or the 75, whatever is going to be the amount of bandwidth you estimate for a particular property. So the first thing we want to know is what the bandwidth experience you'd like to provide on a per user level. So let's just say we're trying to provide an 8 megabit bandwidth experience. That's going to be enough to run Netflix and satisfy a lot of users out there. Definitely not going to satisfy hardcore users. But again, it's not really what we're trying to do with a lot of our networks. We're trying to satisfy the majority of users. What are the estimated amount of users on the network? Let's just say we're going to see 50 users on this network. And then we want to know what type of property this is. Is it an apartment? Sure. We need a 50 megabit line to properly service this property. That helps us kind of just decide what we need to bring there. If it's a hospitality setting, looks like we can get away with a little less. The reason for that is that we see in the hospitality setting that a lot of individuals are not using the internet the same as people that live at properties. They're not streaming as much. They have the TV there. But there is still streaming going on, but you can get away with a little better, lower bandwidth in a hospitality setting. And the good thing is when you kind of lowball your bandwidth, you always have a way of going up and upgrading. A lot of ISPs won't let you go down once you're at, let's say, 100 megabits. Like I've seen many properties at 100 megabits in the hospitality world, and we see them peaking out at like 20, maybe 30 megabits, and they don't realize that they're paying for a lot of bandwidth they're not utilizing. So I think it's okay to go with a smaller circuit because you can always upgrade that later and let the property know. And then if it's a student property, we may need a little bit more bandwidth there. So in Tucson here, I'd have the option of either purchasing a 50 or 100 megabit line. For this property, I'd probably go for 100 and make it just that much better for the property. And I think that's okay in this circumstance since we're sort of in the middle here between what I can purchase here in the Tucson area. So we can change these settings any way that we want. So if we wanted to try a 10 megabit with 75 potential users in a student environment, we'd see 125 megabits. In a hospitality setting, we'd see 62. And in an apartment setting, we'll see 93. And then we have to decide, based on the internet packages that we have out there, what we're going to recommend the property purchase. Or if you're purchasing the bandwidth, what you'll purchase. But we are recommending that you leave the bandwidth to the property and let them purchase what they need. And you recommend to them what they need on a, what you may have a meeting with them on a yearly basis where you're just, letting them know what their particular bandwidth needs, how they're utilizing their bandwidth, stuff like that. So that's how you use the bandwidth estimator. I think a very valuable tool in your toolkit in your resource portal. Thanks.